This is the P1 Stability Shoe by Mount to Coast. It features arch rail technology, GoFlow geometry, and a big stack of their light cell foam. But how comfortable is it? How well does it perform? And is it worth the money that they're asking for it? Well, all that's coming up, so be sure to stick around. Hey everybody, I'm Tim and this is Run Tall. If you're new here, welcome to the Run Tall family. I'm really glad that you are here and you found us on YouTube. Now I post videos all the time about running, mountain biking, living a healthy lifestyle, training, recovery, and gear reviews. So if you're into that kind of thing, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. It's free to do, and it really does help out. Now, before I get into it too far, I do want to get a disclosure out of the way. The P1 Stability Shoes by Mount to Coast were sent to me for the purpose of review. However, no one's paying me to make the video, no one's telling me what to say, and no one from Mount to Coast has an opportunity to preview my thoughts before I share them with you first here on YouTube. And if at any point in time during this video you might want to learn a little bit more about these or maybe pick up a pair for yourself, I'll put a link in the description below. It'll take you right to them on their product webpage. These do retail for $160 US. I ordered mine true to size and they fit me perfectly. I wear a US men's size 9, and on my scales when I weighed them, they came in a little bit lighter than their stated weight. They have a stated weight on their website of 9.9 ounces. I put these on my scales and they came in at about 9.7 ounces or 274 grams. Now I ordered mine in white. Now they do have some gray accents here and there. I think they look really sleek and sharp, but if this isn't your thing, they do have a few other color options for you that are available. The upper is made of a circular knit material. It's pretty soft to the touch, so it's really comfortable. It has lots of perforations up around in the toe box, and it does have a little bit of stretch or give to the material. So if you're out running and your feet tend to swell, they're going to be a bit accommodating that way, so you should be able to maintain your comfort level throughout your workout. Now this material continues on through right about through to the arch. Then from the arch back around through the heel, the material changes up. It becomes a bit more rigid, a bit more coarse to the touch, but you would definitely expect that with a pair of stability shoes. And then also as we take a look at the upper, they do have a few plastic overlays here or there. You can see around the toe box, they've got some protection there. It's going to add to the durability of your upper, and it's going to protect your toes in case you were to kick a rock or something when you're out running. And then they also have their Mount to Coast logo here on the midsection of the shoe. Then they have some additional material that starts at about the arch and then wraps around the heel with their Mount to Coast logo that's printed back here. The eyelet chain, it's a pretty standard eyelet chain with a few extra features. It does have a slight offset to it. I do like that. It reminds me a bit of soccer shoes, but I always feel like I get a bit more snugged in and secure. Now they do have a feature that I haven't seen in a while in shoes. I'm going to call it a wrap, and it's either a medial or arch wrap. So the way that this works is it has a separate piece of material that sits between the upper material as well as the gussets of the tongue. And so I'm going to open this up so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So this is the piece that I'm talking about. Let me actually pop it out. So it is a separate piece of material, and I think you can kind of see that there. It's in a bit of a triangle shape. It's sewed in at the footbed. And so what you can do is you can customize the fit around your arch and the arch support that you get. So if you want a more snugged or wrapped feeling, you could lace this up using that first eyelet in that wrap. Now, if you want a more traditional fit, you could use the second eyelet because that's going to be more in line with the rest of them. I like the fact that you have some customizable options here, and you can get a really nice grip around your arch. So if you like to have that extra support, which a lot of us who overpronate or have flat feet or both, like I do in my case, that feels really good, feels really comfortable. So I'm going to put that back in here. Okay, so also with the eyelet chain, you can see that they have some plastic overlays here. That's going to just add some durability so you don't have to worry about your laces pulling through it all. And then they have the extra eyelet up here in case you want to run with the runner's knot. Now, the only thing that I would mention there is if you choose to run with the runner's knot, the tongue is about perfect in terms of its length, but you don't have really anything extra to work in. So when I was lacing up my shoes, and I almost always run with a runner's knot, it brings my laces up just a little bit higher on that eyelet chain. So at times I had to kind of work to make sure that the tongue didn't fold underneath the laces, or the laces didn't come over the top of the tongue. But other than that, I didn't have that happen when I was out running at all, just when I was lacing them up. So I just thought it would be something worth mentioning to you here. And then also with that plastic overlays on the eyelets, when I went to take the laces out so I could show you guys like the medial wrap, that the plastic on the ends of the laces were getting caught up a little bit on the plastic that's around the eyelets, and it made it a bit of a challenge. I had to kind of work them a little bit to get them out. Now that's only going to be an issue if you want to replace your laces. Maybe you want to add a little pop of color to your shoes and put some pink laces or green laces or whatever you might like. Or if you want to take advantage of the customizable ability here with the arch wrap, you're going to need to remove your laces at least down to that far. You might have a little bit of a time get them out, because I know I did. Okay, so the tongue is, I think they did a really good job here. It's more of a booty construction. So it's not just gusseted on each side. So you can see that there's material on both sides, but that material continues on around through the toe box all the way. So for me, it feels a lot more like a booty construction of a tongue. So the step and feel of these is really nice. They do feel really comfortable. You feel snugged in, and you do feel secure. The only downside to that is now you have two pieces of material for that air to flow through. So if you live in hot weather, I wouldn't say that these are highly breathable. They're moderately breathable. But for me, and where I live, where I have different seasons to contend with, they're cool enough to run on hot days, but they're not so cool that my toes are going to freeze on cold days. Just something to consider if you live in a hotter climate year-round, that extra material does inhibit the airflow a little bit, if I can get the words out. Okay, so let's take a look at the padding around the heel collar and the tab of the shoe. There's plenty of it there. You know, it feels really comfortable. For a daily trainer, I think it's pretty much spot on. Lots of padding up around the heel collar, and then it tapers into the footbed, which creates a nice heel pocket for your heel to set in. I didn't have any issues with my heel moving either up or down or side to side. I felt pretty locked in and secure that way. Okay, as long as we're talking about the heel, let me put the shoe up on my shoulder. I'm going to give it the pinch test, see how much material is back here, how stable is it in the heel, and as I try to pinch that material together, you know, I really can't, I mean, I am giving it my all here, and that's the best that I can do. So lots of material, lots of structure in the heel. So again, you don't have to worry about your heel moving around on you. And as long as I got it up here, you can see that they have a pull tab. Well, it looks nice, but it's not very functional. It just isn't, at least not for me anyway. Maybe over time, that's going to loosen that material up, make it a little bit easier for you to be able to use it. But as it is, I can't hardly get my finger in there to actually use it on a practical purposes. I typically do like to have a bit of a pull tab, but I prefer it running vertical, where it's easier for me to use it than I do horizontal, especially if it's so tight to the shoe that it makes it difficult for me to get my finger in there to actually use it. It is elastic, so it does kind of snap back. And maybe again in the future, it's going to loosen up a little bit, but right now, not so functional. These also have a removable insole that adds a little bit of cushion. You can see it's fairly thick and it's soft, so it's going to add some comfort to your run experience. And then I do like where they have up here printed on it, it says, when I run, I'm just running. Isn't that the truth? Or at least it is for me anyway. I hope it is for you guys as well. But you can also see that it's pretty deep, and you know, it kind of rides up around your heel, so it cradles your heel and helps to hold it in place. So again, adds a little bit of comfort to your run experience. So I appreciate that. Let's take a look at the midsole. which is what I often call the engine of the shoe. Now they do have what they call a light cell foam. That's the name of their foam. It is a hybrid PEBA-based foam. It's supercritical. It's nitrogen infused, so you know it's going to have some bounce. It's I think 50% lighter than traditional EVA, has about 45% more bounce to it than a traditional EVA foam does. I always like running in nitrogen infused foam. Boy, it just feels like you're running on clouds sometimes. But they have a lot of it. They have 37 millimeter stack height in the heel and 27 millimeters up in the forefoot for a 10 millimeter offset. Then embedded within the foam is their stability feature, which is their arch rail technology. Now I can show you where it starts. I flip the shoe over here. Now this gray is not just an accent. It does look pretty sharp, I think, but it's a harder plastic, and that's going to follow the contour here. That's what's giving you some stability within the shoe. Now what's different here, and what you might have noticed, is that it starts up in the forefoot of the shoe, and then it works its way back to the arch, whereas most traditional stability shoes will start with either a post or a more dense material in the arch and goes back to your heel. Now, I like the fact that they're starting up here in the forefoot of the shoe, and that's because I do overpronate and I have flat feet, but I also, when I run, I tend to midfoot or forefoot strike the ground. So I spend the majority of my time in this area, and so that's where I need the stability to be, and that's exactly where it is. So if you're like me and you tend to mid to forefoot foot strike the ground, I think you're going to find these to be really comfortable because they are highly stable. I do enjoy running in them. I didn't have any issues with my ankles turning in where I felt like, you know, I was just kind of beat up after the workout at all. These feel really comfortable running. And what I noticed is that it's a more natural feeling. When I run in these, I don't feel like I'm being forced into a corrective level of pronation, but rather more connected with the shoes, and it's more of a natural feeling as I flow through my gait. Now that in part coincides or goes hand in hand with their go flow geometry of the shoe. Now the go flow geometry basically refers to their rocker design that's here, and you can see that they have a heel bevel. So if you're a heel striker, they got you covered, and it is pretty soft back in the heel, but that's going to add a little bit of smoothness to your run. Now I tend to mid to forefoot foot strike, so the arch rail technology combined with their go flow geometry make it a really smooth transition for me. Absolutely love it. I would say that these aren't necessarily a max cushion shoe, but they're pretty plush. They're pretty comfortable. I think especially as a stability shoe, they're at the higher end of the cushion as far as that goes. Let's flip them over and we'll take a look at the outsole. And here you can see that they have plenty of rubber to cover up all of their light cell foam to keep it protected. So it's going to be durable. It's going to last a long time. I don't think you're going to have any issues with that at all. They basically just have the one little cutout back here in the heel that isn't covered. Other than that, pretty much the rest of the shoe is covered. So not only is it in the high abrasion areas, like where your toe off or maybe in the heel, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So I do think that these shoes are going to last a really long time, and you're definitely going to get your money's worth. So is it worth the $160 that they're asking for it? I think so. Especially given the fact that stability shoes are not inexpensive. They usually cost a little bit more than neutral road shoes do. For everything that you're getting here, I think that they priced it right in the market. I love the light cell foam, the nitrogen infused. It's light. It gives you a little bit of bounce, but what really sells it for me is that rocker design that's coupled with their arch rail technology to give you a nice smooth transition through from your heel to your toe. I think it's going to be durable. It's going to last. I like the medial wrap here to give you a customized fit, a little extra arch support. Overall, I think they did a really good job. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Run Tall with Sam.